Hey guys, Retired at 40. I have bought some crazy stuff in my life. I've bought rundown houses that no one else wanted. I've bought buffalo heads. I've bought anesthesia machines. So my wife was not real surprised when I said, I want to buy an airplane. Especially an airplane that's in pieces. And I don't have a pilot's license. I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to go pick it up right now. I love to buy and sell things, and even better than that, I love to trade things. So I bought an airplane at an auction. It's in pieces. It's a kit plane. I don't know how much of it's there, but I know enough just to be dangerous. Anything that's airplane related is extremely expensive. I only paid $350 for this thing. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you. V6 Stoll airplane, home build with motor, parts and manual. $355. So we actually need to pick this up in two parts. The plane is big enough that I'm not quite sure it's going to fit in my covered trailer. So we're going to go pick up all the boxes with all the stuff in it, with the engine and all that stuff. And then I'm going to measure the plane, and then we're going to go back and we're going to pick up the fuselage. There she is. So it won't quite fit. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is take at least one of these tires off to clear the spring-loaded springs for the door. And even when I get in there, the gate is actually as wide as that platform is. So I think that the wheel's gonna have to come out anyway, just to fit in the width of the trailer. Well, we're closer, but I think we're gonna have to take that other tire off also. Next problem.
What?
It's too long. We're already all the way to the front here. We're still sticking out just a little bit. So we're gonna have to pull this rudder off.
One down. There's one more to go.
Yeah. Got it. All right, look out. We made it. We just gotta load up the other parts and we'll get out of here.
Let's see.
Well, it's a good thing that my trailer wasn't even an inch shorter than it is, because I don't think it would have fit in there. But we're gonna head home and see what we've got. It's really hard to believe that an airplane can fit in this thing. Well, I got it in here and it's got to come out. Coming in for a landing. Now that I've picked everything up, there's actually a lot more there than I thought there was. I think there's probably about 90% of a plane there. So I'm gonna put everything together, kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle, and see what I can come up with. So I got it all together. I did find out a lot of information along the way. The biggest negative on this right now is it does not have wings, which is probably going to make it a pretty hard sell, because the company is no longer around, and it's definitely going to take the right person to be able to have the knowledge to be able to build wings for it. On the plus side, I still have all of that motor value and all of that other stuff that I found in there. So I basically know nothing about this airplane other than it's a kit plane. I know what type of engine it has, and I know what the engine's worth. So this is all the parts and pieces. I'm gonna get these all out, and then I'm gonna kind of assess what I've got here. So this to most probably looks like a giant pile of junk. But to me, this looks like lots and lots of money. So the average experimental kit plane is anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000. And I know for a fact that this engine, brand new, goes for about $10,000. I have no way of knowing if it's new or not, but even assuming that it's not, and even assuming that it needs an overhaul, I would imagine it's worth at least $3,000 to $4,000 just in the state and condition that it's in right now. And that's a whole lot of trade value. So since I don't know much about this plane, I don't even know what model it is or who the maker is, I'm gonna go through some of these boxes and see if I can do some detective work. Possibly my first clue. This says Franklin on it. I'll have to Google that. Got some intake manifolds. This also says Franklin on it. So this is taking a very strange turn. A lot of these parts are actually not for the airplane. They're mostly these Franklin parts. And I did a quick Google search, and Franklin was an automobile company back in like the early 1900s. I'm not sure if it's that. I've got a feeling this is somehow related to another aircraft engine. I did find lots of clues because there's tons of literature. This whole box is full of literature. I also found the invoice for the motor. In 2009, it says it was new with 35 hours on it. I'm guessing that was just break-in, so that's good news. And now I know what exactly the motor is. It's a HKS 700E. The oil tank for the engine. Random parts and pieces. These are skins for the plane. Lots of instrument panels and gauges and stuff, and then some more parts for the plane itself. And then these plans I don't think are for the plane either. So I'm curious to see what those are too. I'm gonna do some research on this Franklin stuff because I've got a feeling it's worth quite a bit of money. And if that's so, my luck is really up. So Franklin was also an airplane manufacturer, and they've been owned by several different people. But those particular Franklin parts are pretty old and pretty desirable from what I can tell. So that should bring me in at least another $1,000. So it's been about a month and a half since I picked up this little gem, and I've been selling off bits and pieces here and there. Just stuff that doesn't actually belong to this airplane, but stuff that belongs to possibly other airplanes. And I've pretty quickly made my money back. Obviously it doesn't take much to make the $350 back. I spent $355 on the plane. I sold the plane for $5,300. And then over the course of the last about month and a half, I've sold off some other various gauges and parts and things that were in the bunch that had nothing to do with this plane, and those were another $650. So if I did my math correctly, my return on investment should be 1,400 to 1,500%. I think that's a little bit better than the banks. So since I've had this plane for a month and a half, I've had plenty of extra time to find a couple more fun projects to work on. And those videos are coming up soon, so make sure you stay tuned for those. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. We'll catch you next week.